Meet Nicole, a passionate botany student, and her husband Caleb, an IT professional. At first glance, their worlds seem very different. One grounded in soil and sunlight, the other in the screens and software. But at home, their lives intertwine in surprising ways, revealing a unique harmony between the green of the natural world and the glow of technology.
Our family is nice. We have 4 kids. For the age and range from the oldest being almost 13 and the youngest is 7. And they're pretty cool. I don't know, it's chaos. Well, the bus comes at like 7:07, so I get up at 5:45 and feed the guinea pigs, and then the dogs, and then the children, and then pack lunches, and then they all go to school, which is nice. And then I go to school, and Caleb does work.
Yeah, I get up around 6:30 or 7, and I work from home for a company that's in the Eastern time zone, so they're an hour ahead of me. So I get up and start as soon as I can to be as close to schedule as they are. I stay here and let the dogs out during the day and pick the kids up at the bus when they get home, because Nicole's at school still.
Whatever else. Make dinner. Sometimes I have work at the Y. That's only like 3 days a week though. And then bedtime, and then sleeping.
They don't claim to have it all figured out, but listening to them, it's clear they trust each other to take the lead when needed.
That was a happy accident, probably. Career path of convenience. I grew up, my parents were staunchly opposed to video game consoles, but they were totally fine with computers. And so we had a computer in our house from a very young age. My dad was, I think, just liked toys. And so they would, come up with a reason or an excuse to buy the latest whatever it is. So, as much of the latest as we could afford. So we had a computer with a CD-ROM drive early, and a sound card, which was a big deal back then, and DSL as soon as we could have it, which did take a while. It did take until high school, but I was always kind of surrounded by technology or able to play with it as much as I wanted to. And then after when we moved back to Illinois, one of the easiest places to get a job was at the local university. So I applied for a position in their IT department, and just from there, just kind of kept stepping up and up in hopping from job to job over the years as I learned and improved my skills into where I am now.
I'm from Texas, and when I was growing up, we tried to plant a garden, but it was never a success because either there was some kind of hurricane that drowned it out, or it was so dry that never really lived. And the dirt just wasn't very good. It was kind of clay. Anyway, I thought that I was bad at growing things until I moved to Illinois, where the dirt is much nicer and you don't have hurricanes sitting on your garden and not as many droughts. So I had some success early on when I decided to plant a garden with my oldest when she was little, and that kind of I fell in love with it.
Their answers weren't flashy, but they were full of warmth and the quiet hustle it takes to hold the family together.
I think it's pretty flexible, kind of different seasons. There's different ability and time to get things done. So we don't have like a set hard line. You do this, I do that. It kind of ebbs and flows. As like I'll have more time in the summer when I'm done with finals. So like I can pick up more of the housework. But right now with papers and finals to study for, Caleb picks up the slack, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, I think it varies depending on what stage you are in your children's development. Because early on, Nicole wasn't going to school; she was staying at home and being a mother full time, and so she did most of the stuff for a long time, and that was just kind of her role. And if you want to look at it from a like financial standpoint, it's a lot cheaper for one spouse to take care of your 4 kids than it is to try to pay for daycare for 4 kids, unless she has a very high-paying job. Those things just don't they just don't make sense. So early on, as we're still having kids and they're still very, very young and need a lot of attention, Nicole was doing a lot of that work. And now as they've gotten older and they've become a little more self-sufficient, and I have more time now that I'm working from home too, it's just a different situation. And so I end up doing more around the house than I was earlier. And that will probably, all of this will probably change, as the kids get older. They'll probably
need way less care.
Well, and they'll probably take on some of those responsibilities as well as they get older.
They already.
They do some now, but they'll, as you get older, you do more.
Conrad, the youngest, likes to garden with me, but right now they all want to do different things. Artist, zoologist. Conrad wants to be an actor, and something else. Oh, archaeologist. So, that'll definitely work out. But he's 7, so.
I don't think they know what I do really, so. Most adults don't know what I do, so, and it takes a long time to explain it to them. So, I think as they get older, they may take more of an interest in technology, but the kinds of things that I do aren't really relatable on a day-to-day basis.
I hope they remember that everything is going to be that they can figure stuff out, and that you can make it through whatever the newness is. Eventually it becomes the normal, and that they are capable of whatever they want to get done.
I think I would probably say I want them to recognize I would want them to recognize the privileges that they grew up with and use those to help other people. And even if not to use other people, or even if not to help other people, to just be aware of the privileges that they've had, so that influences the decisions that they make in the future.
In their everyday lives, Nicole and Caleb show us that the lines between disciplines aren't boundaries, they're bridges. When we blend curiosity, care, and creativity, we uncover connections that enrich both science and technology, as well as ourselves. As Nicole says, plants teach us to grow slowly, adapt constantly, and thrive in community. In a world that often separates science and tech, their stories remind us that the true understanding grows at the roots, where knowledge meets wonder.